Good morning, everyone. It's great to see so many people out here interested in labor internationalism and international solidarity work. And it is the 100th anniversary of the Russian Revolution this year. And I'll take that as license to bring out a minor quip. I'm reminded of the Zimmerwald Conference in 1915, where Lenin famously quipped that you could fit every internationalist in Europe into 2 stagecoaches. Well, by that measure, I think the turnout here is much better, and I expect we should be taking power shortly. So, let me start by talking about what international solidarity work is not. It's not charity. We don't do this work because we want to support some unfortunate people in far-off parts of the world. That's not what this is. There's a difference between charity and solidarity. And what that means for us is we focus a lot of our international work on making systemic changes, not dealing with so much the symptoms of the problems, but trying to get at the problems themselves. And I think that's what trade unionism, how it really differs from charitable work. Yes, we're trying to help people, but we're trying to help them build capacity for their own struggle, right? I think that's got to be key in our understanding of the international solidarity work that we do. And it's not something that we do in our spare time. You know, it's not just a little bit extra that we like to do because it makes us feel good, which is often how things are presented. Well, first of all, for those of you here that are in the labor movement, you know that there's no such thing as spare time. Right? Everything you do has to be prioritized. And the fact that we're doing international solidarity work at all means it's a priority. It means it's important to us. International solidarity is a two-way street. We get as much back from it as we give to it. And I'll get into that a little bit more in a bit. And it's often an extension of the work that we already do here. What we do internationally isn't all that different from what we do trying to build capacities for struggles for workers here. You know, if there was a strike from any other union in this country and they were calling for our support, we would absolutely be doing everything we can to support them. Same is true internationally. And it's important for us to wrap our heads around this because we're living in a globalized world now. Capitalism is a global system. That means we're not just fighting the Canadian bosses anymore, because they're not just Canadian bosses. Right? You have transnational corporations that are exploiting the entire world and seem to be in charge of most governments these days. So if we're only basing our strategies on fighting these guys one country at a time in a piecemeal approach, we're going to lose. And it's that simple. It really is. So this isn't about charity. This isn't about doing something that makes you feel good in your spare time. It's about the creating conditions necessary to actually win and take on these transnational corporations and make the systemic changes that we need to make in order for this to be a livable world. So it's an integral component of what we do. Now, for us, that's a really easy argument to make because we're postal workers, and the postal system is a global system. Even though every different country has its post office, they all work together. You know, why should I care any less about the worker in Palestine who's handling the parcel than the worker here who shipped it to? Right? We're all doing the same work. We're all part of the same system. So that's a really obvious thing for us, but it's also quite concrete when you look at how the post offices operate. one of the things you'll notice right away is that they're usually not very imaginative. And they all watch what's happening in each country, right? So when Canada Post brought in postal transformation here, brought in machinery that would sort the mail so that they could get rid of thousands of workers, essentially thousands of jobs. They didn't come up with that idea themselves. Those machines are running in Japan, right? They're running in other places. So it's very concrete to our work. Something unique to this country, and they came up with the idea of just ending door-to-door delivery. I know, how about we stop providing the service? There's a good idea. So the one time when they were trying to be imaginative, it didn't go so well, as I'm sure you all know. We did manage to save door-to-door delivery, but we didn't do that on our own. Right? We didn't do that on our own, and we didn't do it even just with the support of our allies here. But postal unions around the world were watching very closely what was happening here, because they all knew that if it worked here, it would be coming to them next, because that's how this works for them. And so we had all kinds of solidarity from postal unions around the world supporting our struggle. That would not have happened without all of the international work that we've done before, building capacities in postal unions, helping to train shop stewards, running health and safety courses. And again, not us coming in and telling them how it's done, but helping them create the space to figure out how they can organize and how they can do things, right? Without all of that work, I don't know that that support would have been there. But I do know that it had an impact. I know we made it a point that Stephen Harper, we didn't, for a period of 2.5 years, we didn't allow him to make a public appearance in this country without being met by a picket line of postal workers. But I'll leave you with this thought, which is that when Stephen Harper went to the West Bank, he was met by a picket line of Palestinian postal workers holding Save Canada Post signs. So this work, as I said, it's not charity. It's not something to be done in our spare time because it feels good. It's an integral component of the work that we do. It's an extension of all of the work we do here. It's a recognition that we're fighting a global capitalist system. It's globalized, and we have to globalize.